Yes, it is possible to drive a reliable car that is paid off. Today, we're diving into a topic that can free up a lot of cash in your budget, getting rid of your car payment. At one point, I was paying $500 a month just to drive my car. Add on a second car, and you could be spending close to $1,000 just in car payments. That doesn't include gas, insurance, or maintenance. You can drive a reliable car that's fully paid for, and I'm about to show you exactly how you can make that happen. Are you tired of the monthly car payment just looming over your head? You're not alone. A few years back, I managed to pay cash for our van, and since then, I've continued to purchase all my other cars with cash. It might seem like car payments are just a part of life, but I'm here to encourage you to break free from that car payment cycle. Now let's clear something up right away. I'm not driving brand new cars. I drive reliable, clean, and paid for cars. And it's really about that peace of mind and freedom that comes with owning your car outright. Here are 5 straightforward ways to ensure that you don't have a car payment hanging over your head. Because buckle up, we're going on a money-saving journey. First up, and probably the most obvious route, is to pay off your current vehicle. When I had a car loan, I started adding extra money to my monthly payment. To ensure that I paid that extra money every month, I set up automatic deductions in my bank account. Any additional funds that came my way were funneled into paying off the car even faster. A quick side note, if you're still struggling with credit card debt or other high interest loans, prioritize paying those off first. When I was on my debt-free journey, I tackled my car payment last after eliminating other high interest debts because my interest rate on my car loan was so low. And then once your vehicle is paid off, here is a game changer. Keep driving your car. According to the Simple Dollar, the average American family spends $300 a month on a car payment. If you stick with your paid-for car for just 2 years after you pay it off and save that car payment, you will have over $7,000 in cash saved for a new vehicle. When I think about my own car history, I've noticed that I drive my vehicles until they wear out or I don't need them anymore. For example, I drove my first Suburban for 12 years before passing it down to one of my kids. The longer you can drive your car after it's paid off, the more money you'll save. Even if you have to spend money on repairs, it's usually more cost-effective than buying a brand new vehicle. In fact, since 1996, I've only owned 5 cars. Looking for a budget-friendly option? Here's an idea. A few years ago, I needed a get-around car. Nothing fancy, just something for commuting. I researched the most reliable older vehicles and found one for only $500. I put about $300 in for maintenance and repairs, and after 10 months, I had spent a total of $800 on that car. That's an $80 a month car payment, significantly less than the national average of $300. Even if that car lasts a year or two, I've already accumulated significant savings for another vehicle. That car ended up lasting me 3 years, which means I spent $22 a month for that car while I owned it. Want a strategy that reminds me of the good old days? We never had new cars growing up. My dad's philosophy was to drive a car until you had to pay someone to tow it out of your driveway. Sure, it meant we kept the same car for years and years, but it also meant years and years of no car payments. Repairs are inevitable, but usually cost less than the payments you would be making. By the time my parents' cars were ready for the scrapyard, they had saved enough money to replace that vehicle for cash. In 2000, 24 years ago, I bought a 2-year-old minivan. I took out a loan but paid it off in 3 years. I then continued to drive that same car for another 6 years, saving the $250 car payment the entire time. Eventually, I sold that van for about $1,000, but I had saved over $18,000 to buy another vehicle. So it is possible to purchase a decent used car for that amount of money. What if you're daring enough to go without a second car altogether? I was a 1-car family for many, many years. Many people think this isn't possible, but I beg to differ. It was inconvenient at times and it did require some sacrifice, but it's an effective way to take control of your finances. Now let's shift focus to how you can actually save up and pay cash for that car. It's not just about avoiding those car payments, it's also about building up your finances for future purchases. Here's a breakdown of what I did exactly to save up cash for a car. First, live without that car payment. For 3 years, I drove an older, less glamorous car that got me where I needed to go. The second car that we owned was newer, but it was paid off after 3 years. Then we kept our cars until they couldn't run anymore. If you are switching cars every 3 to 4 years, you won't have time to save for a new one. While older cars do require repairs, it's been my experience that these repairs usually cost less than a new car payment. When the repairs become as frequent or costly as payments, it's time to consider looking for a newer car. Make sure you save your car payment in a dedicated car fund. For instance, if you had a $300 car payment, you could accumulate over $11,000 in 3 years or over $15,000 in 4 years. That's a substantial amount to buy a decent used car. Just make sure that amount is being saved in a separate account so you don't accidentally use it for something else. And make sure you maintain those current cars with regular oil changes and routine maintenance. Preventative maintenance often costs less than repairs. The longer you can drive your cars, the more money you can save for your next car purchase. And don't rush to upgrade your vehicles until it's absolutely necessary. With a little sacrifice and a little savings, it is possible to pay cash for your next car.